Hey y'all, I hope y'all are having a good day today. I hope love finds y'all, I hope blessing finds y'all, and I hope y'all are in the best mood today, and I pray this week brings you much success. But I'm Lanidra, I'm the founder of LW Glam and Beauty. I do lashes, I do brow tints, I do teaching. I'm like a beauty expert for real, and I'm growing. But I'll be bringing more beauty expertise to y'all. But today I went on a hike, and I've been doing things more intentional, so I kind of want y'all to watch my video, and I hope it blessed somebody, and I hope it touched somebody, because my experience definitely touched me. And I don't understand the journey that I'm on, but I know it's God's journey, and I'm doing it, and I'm just going with the flow to see what comes about. But check me out and subscribe to my channel if you enjoy my video, and share it with your friends, your loved ones, because they may need to hear it. Thank you, and I'll see you next. Yeah. So I came out today. I'm trying to be more intentional with my time and my purpose, just for life in all areas. Just trying to make sure that I'm being intentional with the things that I do, things that I say, how I move, whatever the case may be. But I've been also, trying to invest more time solely to myself versus others, because, in life we typically give so much of our time to others. That's natural. So I've been trying to be more intentional to my alone time. Doing things that can benefit to a purpose versus, because I'm the type of girl, I love to shop. I love to try new restaurants and new foods. That's my thing. But that wasn't contributing to my purpose. And that wasn't contributing. It wasn't intentional. It was something that fulfilled me because that's what I enjoy doing. So I've been stepping out of my comfort zone and doing things that's not my norm or whatever, which I have been hiking before, and I normally go hiking twice a year, well, twice a season, but I haven't been hiking in about 2 years probably. So I was like, okay, girl, you got to get back to you childlike things that open up your mind or whatever. So I've been investing in doing things more intentional wise than what I normally do. So on this phase, I'm on a 30-day intentional, I don't want to say fast, but intentional phase or whatever. So I'm being more intentional in these 30 days to see what the outcome would be for me and the growth that I would get. But I'm going to talk about something that I was listening to. I had watched a sermon by Sarah Jakes, and it was titled "Get Out of Your Routine." And I also had watched a sermon by Keon Henderson, and his was titled "It's Time to Grow Again." And they both compared, but I'm going to talk about them. But I might not have the camera facing on me. I'm probably going to face it out here to the water because I got to read my notes. But yeah, stay tuned. So yeah, on my way to my destination, the gospel song "Encourage Yourself" by Donna Lawrence and the Tri-City Singers came on the radio, and it was talking about encouraging yourself. And that was a song that they sung in my church maybe 10 to 12 years ago, and it stood out to me. And I want somebody else to go listen to that, because you may need to hear that. But definitely encourage yourself through your storms and your situations and whatever you're going through. And also, if you believe in angel numbers, an angel number that stood out to me on my journey was 333, 444, and 1111. So if you need a message, go check those out as well. Here I'm showing you all the scenery. Yes, I had to walk through them rocks, climb them rocks. Baby, got to put your big girl shoes on, you feel me? But the message will come at the end. And here I am, just journaling my notes, journaling my thoughts, and feeling my emotions. Okay, y'all, excuse me for the background. I am at the park, and so people are hiking, and there's background noises and things of that nature. So you may hear some extra distractions, but that's okay. Don't get distracted. Stay focused. So funny, because the whole time I've been here, and I'm interrupting my message for this, it's been really gloomy, dull, and dark. Once I finished Proverbs, I prayed, y'all, and the sun started coming up. God hears us. He hears everything. Okay, so Sarah's message was titled, "Get Out of Your Routine." And what I took from the sermon, it was basically stating about, maybe you're wondering how to get out of your routine. Maybe you're wondering how to stop doing something. Maybe you're wondering how to change something. But you have to give yourself permission to get out of that routine. And she talked about 3 points. She said it's okay to grow, it's okay to change, and it's okay for you to not need the things that you once needed that fed you. That may go over a lot of people's head, but you might get it later, you might not. But she said, give yourself permission to get out of that routine. Give God permission. And when you give God permission, He will start to roughen up things in your life. She talked about, you got to want to give up a part of yourself to receive better. And what you're giving up, the little part of yourself that you're giving up, is nothing compared to the greater rewards you receive later. And for example, she talked about relationships. She talked about how when we get into relationships, for relationships to work, typically we have to give a part of us up for ourselves to make a partnership. And she used herself as an example and said how she's an independent woman. She was before her husband. She was an independent woman doing everything for her kids. And she was just independent, labeled as independent. And to be married, she had to give up that independence. But that was hard for her to do. She had to give up that independence for a partnership. But look, when you look at it, a partnership is better than being alone. Because typically in a partnership, you're supposed to grow. You're supposed to evolve. That's the person you fall back on, the person you rely on, your support. She said a lot of us fear losing our independence because that's what we're immune to basically, and that's what we're used to. She said, so typically when we go into relationships, we fear from things that have happened to us prior, whether it's cheating, things of that nature. You kind of go into relationships with those same expectations, with the expectation that this relationship is going to end. And she said we typically in life look for things to end for us instead of maximizing the presence of what's going on. She used an example of entrepreneurs. She said when we go into business as entrepreneurs, we look for our end result, our end goal, and how things are going to end. Versus going in looking at how you're going to build this business, because in the process of building, you're learning who God is building you to be. She talked about if you're waiting for God to show up, if you've been waiting on Him, He's been showing you, He's present, but you're doubting it, or your self-thoughts, your self-conscience is doubting what He's telling you, thinking that things are not going to work, this is too good to be true, etc. But nothing is too good to be true, and everything can work out. God is saying, I'm showing you, but you are in fear. If you let go of the fear, you will see the reward. So you have to get out of that routine. Fear is your routine. You have to let fear go. You got to find ways to release that fear. If you trust in God, you will no longer fear things ending in corruption, because you can't afford to be defeated if you got God on your side. She talked about how we have to wage war. And that means, so say for instance, God gives you an idea to start a business. You start the business and you start to have fear. You have to go to war behind your business. You got to fight through the fear and execute. Show up in your purpose. Stop backing down. Eliminate the distractions. And this can be applied to all areas in your life. This is not just business, but take it and apply it to every area in your life. She said you got to go to war with your weapon, and God is your weapon. When you start to go to war with your weapon, it starts to make issues within your friendships, relationships, and connections. And that is because it's roughing up things in your life for the better of your purpose, and it's okay. When you don't have an encounter with God, it propels us. So you have to have an encounter with God so He can show you where your strength is. And then you can have the power to say, I actually can do this. I can see this through. This is enough for me. I am worthy of this. This is my purpose. This is where I'm supposed to be. It's more for me. She talked about how we have to encounter peace. And God gives us that peace. And God is trying to give us peace in areas that we may have lacked peace before. But once you reach a level of peace, That's when the reward is great. That is when you find your purpose. Purpose is for people who have found peace. And that's when the war comes. When you find peace, you're going to have war. You're going to start to fight. You're going to start to have issues. You're going to start to have conflict. But if you don't have peace, you won't be able to fight the war. When you're not prepared to fight the war, that's when you retreat back to old things. Wanting to go back to old friends, old habits, old relationships, the things that you used to do, the people you used to be around. Peace is knowing that God is on your side. You have to ask God to show you peace during your storm. For example, she talked about if you're going through a divorce, but you can still have peace. Your kids acting crazy, your kids being bad, but you can still have peace. You're unsure what the future holds, but you can still have peace. You're fighting cancer, but you can still have peace. You lost your job, but you can still have peace. You're depressed right now, but you can still have peace. You have to ask God to give you peace because God can be within you, and if He's your weapon, He's going to be with you. He's the way maker. You have everything that you need if you have peace. Peace before position is what she said. And she said peace in your singleness before your position. So if you're single now, you got to have peace in that season before you can get that man that you want. You got to have peace in this tax bracket season before you can get position for the next tax bracket season. You have to have peace where you are now to get more. Now, in comparison to when I was listening to Keon Henderson's sermon, he talked about it's time to grow again. So, in comparison, get out of your routine so that you can grow again. He read from Philippians 3:16, and he talked about those who feel stuck within a mindset. They stuck in anger, they're stuck in frustration, they're stuck in heartbreak, they're stuck in relationships. It's time to move on. Frustration, when you think you should be further, it's time to move on. No matter what level you have set for yourself, God wants more for you. He always wants more for us. We may think, I want to just be wealthy and have this farmland, but God might want you to have 3-4 farms. He wants more for us. Never compare yourself to others. Only look inward for your own higher goals. Don't limit yourself. When you compare yourself, you behave unwisely. He said, don't compare yourself to nobody else because each one of us have different goals. And our paths will be different. What you see somebody else accomplishing may entail so much behind the back door that you don't even understand what they're doing, and it may not even be from God's will. He said 3 goals to ask yourself to see if you're on your purpose and to see if the goals that God gave you are fulfilling. He said write it down. But the 3 questions are, the first question, am I doing what I was born to do? Am I doing it to pay my bills? If you are unfulfilled and unhappy, you're not doing it in your will. People who go to work who are tired, they're not in their will. People who go to work for their assignment and they are in their assignment, they are energized. They are wanting to come. They are happy about it. If you don't care about what you're doing, maybe you are not. Maybe you were obligated to do more, but you were not born to do it. The second question, can I say I gave it my best? When you lay down at night, can you say I gave it my best, not I gave it enough? When you are at a place you no longer care about, you are not giving it your all. If it's your purpose, you don't have no problem staying consistent with it. So you will know if it's your purpose. If you're consistent, you're giving into it, and it's fulfilling you. The third one, what changes I got to make in my life to get to my purpose? Some of us are too busy doing what we have to do. We don't have time to focus on what we want to do or need to do to fulfill our purpose. You got to make some sacrifices and changes to show up better for yourself. He was reading from 2 Corinthians chapter 10, verses 12. And, of course, he was talking about when Paul wrote the chapter, he was in jail. Paul wrote the chapter in jail. He was in isolation. And he says sometimes God puts you in isolation to think. He said once you ask yourself them questions and you note it and you jot down and you reflect, Think about, do you get a well done from God for how you showed up? A well done. Will God say well done for how you showed up as a sister? Will he say well done for how you showed up as a mom? Will he say well done for how you showed up as an entrepreneur, as an employee, as a janitor, as a waitress, as a CEO? Or do you just get that you do well? You do well, but not a well done. He talked about how we have to accommodate and make changes to get our purpose fulfilled. He used Blockbusters as an example. You know, Blockbusters was a movie company that existed for years, but they did not want to implement changes or adapt to the changes of the world, and Netflix took over. Now Blockbuster is no longer in existence. So what changes do you have to make to the world or for your purpose to get where you want to get before you no longer exist? Okay, y'all, I made it to the water. I did not go over to the waterfall. I just don't feel like going over there, cause a man told me that it's a yellow jack nest on the trail, so I ain't going that way. I'm about to hike back up and hike back out. Drink my water, stay hydrated. Be blessed. Love y'all. Bye bye. Time for Sister Good to go back up, y'all. Now I made it back up my hike. But as I was coming back up the journey back to the car on the path, I noticed that everybody that was out there walking, hiking, they was paired with somebody. I was the only person. Literally, every person that I walked by, even when I look across the fields, literally, everybody was walking with somebody. Either one other person, two people, three, a family, kids, whatever. Everybody was with somebody but me. And I started to think, God takes us on journeys where he isolates us. Like, cause mostly when I go hiking, I always have somebody else with me. Like, me and my friends normally go together, but I was like, I'm going by myself. And sometimes he sits you by yourself so you can think and reflect. Cause some seasons you're gonna have to depend on nobody but you and God. You can't depend on people, your friends, your family. But I just thought about that when I was walking. Like, I just realized it. But somebody need to hear it. You don't gotta do everything with everybody. And I ain't normally the type of girl. I've always do a lot of stuff by myself, but like typically like I hang with my friends. But I do a lot of stuff by myself, but I've never been hiking by myself, never ever. And it was different though, like, you know, I ain't had nobody to talk to other than talking to myself or talking on my video. But I was able to think and reflect. And sometimes the distraction can be people who you surround yourself with. And it's okay. But when you learn it, like some seasons requires you to isolate and be alone so you can focus and see what's really going on or see what the next step is. It's okay.